Okay, so you got all your stuff to fly. You got your quad, you got your plane, you got your radio, you got your goggles, right? And you got all this stuff. Okay, quad, and then batteries, right? Okay, got a GoPro, random stuff. And oh, put another quad. Ah! What do you do with it? What do you do? How do you hold all this stuff? Are you just gonna carry it? Are you gonna be like one of those dummies that just always has their hands full? You know, because it's like they've never heard of like pockets before. Like, who wears clothes without pockets? Dummies. I know. What? No pockets? What? Anyway, that's not what we're talking about today. Kinda. We're talking about bags and how do you carry all of your flight gear, all of your quads, your radios, your goggles, batteries, props, all that stuff. What do you use? I don't know what I use, so maybe you can tell me. Spoiler alert, I have not found the perfect bag, so if you were watching this video trying to think that maybe I somehow came up with the ultimate solution, no, that is not the case. But if you are interested in kind of what I've been thinking about and maybe to get some ideas from, stick around. Ah! That was my radio. See, this is why you need a bag, so that way you're not dropping stuff all over the place. Oh boy. Alright, let's get into it. I'm really glad, by the way, that I had this protector on here that I just made out of Instamorph. Stay tuned for videos about Instamorph RC accessories, because that could have been bad. I could have easily broken a switch or a gimbal or... no, I'm just kidding. It's not broken. Alright. Anyway, let's continue with the video. So the first thing I want to say is if you are like me, you can maybe kind of get a little obsessed about the details of kind of sort of trying to find the perfect bag or the perfect, this or that. So I want to say to you and myself, don't get super obsessed with the details and trying to fix problems that don't exist yet. Okay? Because you could spend a lot of time doing that. And the whole point of finding or getting a good solution for carrying all your junk is so that you can go out and fly. So just remember that, to actually, you won't know how something works until you actually try it. And so just get out there and try it. So with that said, let's talk about some of the things that I've been obsessing over lately. And some of the things that I've been thinking about trying to get a good bag system. Now, I don't personally travel a lot yet with quads, like on airlines or anything like that. I'd like to in the future, and that's kind of why I'm trying to get my stuff organized. But then also, I also want to go on trips and take my quad stuff and have everything, or plane stuff, and have everything just kind of squared away. Where I know where everything is, it's organized. I don't have stuff I don't need. And it's just rock solid, good to go. So that's kind of the goal that I'm going for. So one of the reasons why it's so difficult to find a bag that works just right for your specific need, or for my specific needs, is because I have certain requirements that I'm trying to meet, and have one bag fit all those requirements. And I'm sure you have the same situation. Now, some people, they have no problem with just like taking all their quad stuff and just like sticking it in a backpack or whatever, or just tossing it in, and they just, they go on their merry way. And if that's you, I think that's great. But that's not really my style. I like to have stuff a little bit more organized and protected. And yeah, so some of those requirements that I sort of have are that I want to at least be able to carry one 5-inch quadcopter with the propellers on. So that, because I really don't want to have to take off the propellers and then like put all the propellers back on just to maybe fly like one pack. If I'm like, oh, I feel like this is a good place to fly, and then I just want to be able to put the battery on the quadcopter and then send it off on its merry way. So it has to be able to fit with the props. That's kind of one of my personal requirements. The other thing is that, okay, so the biggest problem that I'm having is getting a compact bag that will fit all this stuff, is because my goggles, man, they're freaking huge. They're really big, and compared to the what do you even call those? The Fat Shark style goggles, Omways or what have you. those ones are very, very small. They're like at least, no, probably a third of this size, at least. So, but the thing is, those goggles, you know, that's like a $300 investment or more, $300 to $500 investment. So I'm just not quite there yet, and you may not be either. Also, you might just prefer a box goggle, and because I mean, I really enjoy this box goggle. It works just fine. But the problem is, it's just so big. So it's like it's really hard to find something to fit it into, like a wait, I don't have another bag. Well, anyway, you get the idea. You could easily fit. Well, just to show you. By the way, I don't really know where I'm going with this. We're just kind of talking about bags and gear and stuff like that. So let's just have some fun talking about it. So, all right. So one thing I noticed was like my FlySky transmitter. I really like this transmitter because it's very slim compared to like a gigantic, what is that, the X9D, the Taranis, the big one, or Spectrum radios. They're pretty large. So, you know, if you kind of stack, if you kind of imagine this stuff being in a bag and you kind of stack it like that, you know, it's pretty compact. Or maybe you know, side by side, I could easily put a quad, you know, have a bag to fit the quad, and then it could fit this right here, and then you know, maybe batteries. Now these are like all of my batteries, so I wouldn't need all of these batteries, but you know, fit the batteries and stuff. But the problem is these goggles, because then the goggles, they're like, it takes up a bunch of space. And then you have to kind of like cram them in there, and then you don't have, you know, depending on the bag, you don't have room for too much else. So anyway, so that kind of leads to the other requirement. The other requirement that I have that I'm trying to meet is I really don't want anything stacked on top of anything else. So like if all these bags are kind of the same. Hang on a second. Let me get a different bag. If we have like a normal backpack, right? This is just like a JanSport Wasabi, I think is the model. And we, you know, say we want to put all our stuff in here. Well, the thing is that then you're kind of getting like, okay, goggles, you know, they probably go on the bottom or something. Batteries would probably go on the bottom as well. And then we can stick our transmitter in here. And then, you know, maybe the quad, or maybe the quad could go like on the outside pouch-ish. But, you know, then you always have a bunch of other stuff, you know, like GoPros and other batteries, spare propellers, you know, antennas, just tools, things like that. And then so the thing is that then you've got your stuff, and it's kind of stacked on top of each other. So then if you're like, oh, I want to pull out my, you know, my transmitter. Well, maybe your transmitter is buried by a bunch of other stuff, and then you got to pull out that stuff. But here's the thing. Once you pull the stuff out of the bag, where does it go? Because it's got to go somewhere. So does it go on the ground? Because I mean, imagine, you know, you're out in the wilderness, right? You're out in the wild, and you want to fly your quad. But guess what? The ground in the wild is all wet and dirty, and so you don't want to set your, you know, your oh, I don't know, something sensitive on there, you know. So you don't want to be pulling out a bunch of antennas and knickknacks and paddywhacks and like putting them on the ground, and then they're going to get lost, they're going to get dirty, they're going to get wet, something bad is going to happen to them, right? Also, it's just not very organized, and then it's like, oh, you know, I don't know, we're getting attacked by a grizzly bear, we got to pack up really fast, and then we got to go. So then you're like, you know, going all around trying to pack everything up. I just don't like it. It's not my style. Maybe it works for you, that's great. Not for me. So something like this would kind of work, but I don't know. I'm not crazy about it. So what I really wanted, so for example, if you take like a box, okay, the box, you may be using a cardboard box or something to just transport stuff to your, you know, car for when you go flying and you don't need to like actually pack it anywhere. Boxes are amazing, incredible human invention. But if I could get a box, this isn't the best box, but if I could get something like a box, oh, ow! I just dropped my transmitter again, and this time it landed on my foot. Once again, gimbal protector saves the day. Still hurts though when you drop it on your bare foot. Okay, all right. Where was I? Oh yeah, I was right here. Okay, so you have like a box. So what I'm kind of thinking is my ideal sort of situation here is that I could fit like a quad, maybe this ways kind of, and then like goggles, just is an example, kind of work with me here. So and then like you got, maybe your goggles go like, I don't know how they go. They go like this or something, and then so this way you have everything. Nothing is buried. Nothing is underneath anything else. Everything is up top and visible. You could have your batteries, here, something like this. Of course, this box, the quad is taller than the box and all that sort of stuff. The other kind of requirement that I'm trying to meet is like, yeah, I know you could buy a low pro bag. You could buy the Betaflight bag, which I think is colored horribly. The yellow and black, I don't like that. It stands out way too much. Or you could buy, any number of sort of like drone bags, but those are usually pretty expensive. I don't want to spend like $100 on a pre-made drone bag. I just don't. I'd rather spend $100 on batteries. I don't know. It's probably a good investment, to be honest with you. Maybe that's what I should do. So maybe you do want to, buy a bag and invest in that, and if you do, I mean, I think that's great. But you still got to know kind of what you want and what works for you, and that's kind of what we're talking about today. Is we're kind of just talking about like what's your criterion for yourself, for your flight needs. So these are some of the kind of the bags that I've been working with. This one lately for about a year or so has kind of been my flight bag. I've kind of gone on and off. But the thing is, this doesn't really fit everything, and it's a little small. It doesn't really fit the quad. Kind of fits ish, but I'm not a huge fan of it. And then this bag was a bag. This is not really a bag. I was trying to make my own version of I was trying to make my own custom quad bag, and it's kind of one of those ideas that works a lot better in your head, because the idea with this one was that you could have, it'd be like custom fit, but you could have your goggles, you have your transmitter, your quad. Now here's the thing. So the quad, what I was kind of thinking was that the quad would be on the bottom, and then you just put your transmitter on top of your quad, right? And then of course I'd put in like dividers and stuff. But then I saw the low pro bags, and they have the transmitter on the bottom and the quad on the top. And I was like, that makes sense, because the first thing you're probably gonna pull out of your bag is your quad. You're like, oh, okay, I got my quad. Boop, set it down somewhere, and then you have access to everything else. To your transmitter, you take it off, you turn it on, you flip the switches. Your goggles, you put the antennas on, put the battery on, that sort of thing. So that makes sense. But this bag right here is one that I've had this for quite a while. This is a JanSport Messenger style bag. Pretty dang large, pretty huge. And so one of the upsides, and I just put this big old piece of foam insulation on the bottom just to kind of try it out so it'd be a flat bottom, but I don't think it works out super great. In any case, one of the good things about this bag is it has this really large main compartment, which I guess could be good or bad, but this way I can put my goggles like this, and I can put my transmitter like so, and then maybe put like batteries behind the transmitter or something like that. And then it has this laptop section, and so maybe I can either put a quad in there, with props, no problem. I know that was terrible. And I can it zips up. There's a lot of room. And the good thing about a bag like this that's like soft-sided is that there's a lot of room to put extra things if you want. That you can kind of cram stuff in there. Or I'm thinking maybe just put this quad on the outside in this really large zippered outside pouch, and it fits with like plenty of room, just like that. And that's pretty good. And then it has this thick flap that folds over. You probably fit quads or other things in this pouch right here. So that's really cool. I like that. The other thing, what was the other thing? Yeah, so it's got these. Look, there's a quad in there. So it has room. You can fit a 3-inch quad in there. or batteries or something like that. And I used to use this bag, but then I think I just wasn't using it properly, and I kind of stopped using it. I could add maybe dividers or something to kind of separate the goggles and the transmitter, but I don't know. We'll kind of see how it goes. One advantage and also disadvantage of this particular bag is that, well, okay, so one, it's soft-sided, so it has a little bit of padding on the back, kind of where the laptop would go, but other than that, not much padding, which I'm not crazy about. But at the same time, I haven't broken anything yet, so it's kind of worth thinking about. So if you can be a little gentle on purpose with your gear, or with your carry bag, then maybe that's not a big deal. So one of the things is that this thing has a strap, or a shoulder strap. So that's good and bad. So the reason why it's bad is because if you are gonna go hiking, and you're actually gonna need to traverse rough terrain, or you're gonna be carrying your bag for a long time, having a single strap going over your shoulder probably won't be very comfortable. But one of the good things about it is that it's just quick and easy, and you can just put it right over your, if you have a backpack on already, you can just put it right on over that, or you could just hang it on one shoulder, or you can, or like say if it's winter time and you've got thick layers on, you don't have to be trying to put on backpack straps and then it's pressing against your back. Or maybe in the summertime it's pressing against your back and it's causing your back to get all sweaty, something like that. So those are just some of the good things, and then some of the things to think about. And then one good thing that I have just kind of started thinking about is I could just hold the bag, I could just have the bag on my shoulder and still get to everything. And actually, I haven't used this a lot, so I'm still kind of testing this out. But I can still get to my transmitter. Oops, that's not. I got to fix that on my transmitter because apparently the fall did. That's probably the part that hit my foot. Okay, so anyway, so I can still get to my transmitter. I can get to my goggles and stuff. It's not it's not the most perfect solution, but I can get to everything. I can put on my antennas, hook up my goggles, put the goggles on my head, right? And then I can get my transmitter out. I guess get the neck strap going. Turn that on, get my quad out, right? Maybe the battery. Maybe I've got batteries right here. Pull out a battery, get my quad, put the battery on there, pop the lens cap, set it down, get my transmitter. Maybe the transmitter's hanging on my neck, and then I'm pretty much ready to go. Put my goggles down and away I fly. And so remember what I was talking about earlier about how when you're out and maybe you're not in the wild, maybe you're at a park or some place like that. Maybe you're at a soccer field, and the thing about soccer fields is there's grass, right? And the thing about grass is it gets dewy. It just seem like wherever you're gonna fly, for some reason the ground is always wet. I don't know about you, but if you fly in the morning or in the evening, especially in the summertime, the ground gets all wet, and then you don't want to be setting all your bag down. And unless it's waterproof, setting your bag down, your goggles down, or whatever on the wet grass. You know what I mean? So this is kind of nice because you could be standing in water or maybe sand. Maybe you're going to the beach. That's another thing. Ugh, I wouldn't even want to think about getting sand and everything. Or maybe it's snowing. Maybe there's snow on the ground. And so this could be kind of nice to have basically just sort of a big old work kind of station. Pouch thing, like a little kangaroo pouch deal, and then you can hold all your stuff in there and access it when it's still on your shoulder. So that could be really nice. So I'm going to be exploring that idea. So the other cool thing about this bag that I'm thinking about, all right, is that you could have it on your shoulder, or because it has this big old flap here, and again I would want to waterproof this whole the bottom and then the back and the top flap. But because it has this flap here, you could just take the bag off, and if you want to put it on the ground, set it like that, and then put that flap down, and then look what we have here. We got a little protected surface here, so you could put your quad there if you want, but quads are pretty durable. You could put your goggles here, set your goggles down, set your transmitter down, get your battery on there, and then you have this kind of dry work surface area. It'd be nice if this was high vis, so you so then you wouldn't lose anything. And then that's another good point, because maybe you're working on your quadcopter, right? You've got, maybe you're just changing the propellers. You got to put those prop nuts somewhere. Maybe you're changing out some standoffs or whatever. You got those little screws. You got to put them somewhere. So you could set them on this work area, and then you're less likely to lose stuff. So that's something that I think is really cool. So yeah, I guess I will be definitely testing out this bag a lot more, because it seems like it has some pretty good potential. I think one thing that I need to improve is just kind of the padding a little bit. So what I'll probably do is get this, this is part of the stuff that I've been playing around with. This is just an old, part of an old, really old sleeping mat, like a camping pad, like from Walmart, with like a closed cell foam or open cell foam. It's closed. I want to say it's closed cell foam. Yeah, it's closed cell foam. It's the dense kind, like for camping. So you could just, I think what I might do is just cut a strip to go all around the edges and the bottom, and maybe the other side as well, just to add a little bit of protection. But I'm not too worried about that. So that's definitely something that you can think about. Another thing is, if you want to find bags for cheap, you could just go down to Goodwill, because Goodwill or whatever local donation store place that you have, you might find some really good bags. I don't think, actually this bag, yeah, I got this bag. This bag I got from Goodwill, and this one has served me pretty well. Goodwill. Okay, this bag has served me pretty well. So you can definitely find some good deals if you shop around. And I'm just hoping that somebody will donate like an old camera bag, but I don't think that's going to happen. All right, so I think I pretty much covered everything that I was thinking about. This is just something that I've been just kind of pondering in my mind and in my brain about how to carry gear and kind of what's the best method. And of course, it's going to vary for each individual pilot, because you may have different needs. You may have a larger transmitter or smaller goggles, or you may need to carry 3 quads or something like that. I'd like to carry 2 5-inch quads and 1 3-inch quad is kind of my goal, and I'm thinking probably 1 5-inch with propellers to just have it ready to fly, and then another 5-inch that would be maybe like a backup without propellers, because then it would be a lot easier to carry without propellers. Speaking of carrying quads and propellers and multiple quads, a lot of people like to just clip their quads onto their backpack. Now, look, I can't really say from experience whether that's a good or bad idea, because I just really haven't ever done that, to be honest with you, or especially like for traveling. But it doesn't seem like a very great idea unless you're just kind of walking like from one flying spot to another, and there's not like a whole, like, you won't have to go in and out of a vehicle, or you won't have to go through brush or anything like that. Because I mean, quads are tough and durable, but it just doesn't seem like the best idea to have them just like clipped on the outside of a backpack. I don't like it. So that's the other, I think I said this. So that was that's why I have kind of, one of my requirements is that I want to be able to fit all of the quads inside the bag for protection of the quads, because maybe it's raining or maybe it's snowing or sand or whatever, and then not even so much like padding per se, but just like to keep junk off of them. And then also, I just don't like how obvious it is that when you have like quads clipped to your bag. I mean, sometimes it's cool, but sometimes you want to be a little discreet, you know what I mean? So you might want to just have your quad in the bag, and then it's like, ooh, is that guy flying one of those illegal drones? And then you're like, no, he must not be, because I don't see any. And then later, once you get to your flying spot, you're like, wha-cha! Drone time or whatever. I don't like the word drone personally, because I don't think these really are drones, but since that's what people call them, you kind of have to use the word drone, because that's what people understand as what these things are called, and it's just kind of a buzzword. But anywho, all right, well, that was pretty fun. I feel like we had a good talking about bags and quads and gear and stuff like that. Listen, I'd like to hear from you. What is your what's your quad setup like, or what's your flying setup like? Do you know, what do you carry? Do you have your transmitter, your quad? How many quads do you carry? Do you carry planes? Is it FPV stuff? Do you have goggles? What's the deal? Also, what kind of bag do you use, and what's your solution? Or are you looking for a solution and you want you maybe want to ask some questions, maybe to me or somebody else? Leave them in the comments below, and maybe we can help you out. If you have any questions about the stuff that I talked about, or if I left something out or something like that, leave it in the comments below. As usual, thanks for watching. I appreciate you being here. Give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. Give it a thumbs down if you didn't like it. Just be honest. Be sure to subscribe to this channel if you like what you see and you want to see more. Also, click the little bell button so that you get notified whenever, you know, I make a video, which is pretty much normally always on Wednesday. And what else? Is there anything else? All right. I think that's it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.